So yesterday, I had work to do. I had things I was going to do. I was going to fill out some financial forms, and for college and all kinds of things, and it was very serious and all those kind of things. And I kind of got quiet, and what came to me was, "Is that really what you need to be doing right now?" Well, what should I be doing? Well, maybe you just need to be. Do you ever take time to just nurture the being that you are? And how does that show up in your life? Now, it shows up as prayer and meditation and all those religious things and spiritual things, but sometimes it shows up as just getting in your car or going out for a walk or doing something with no plans at all. And when I dropped Rosalie off at college in New York City, we were in Queens, and we had a day to spend together, and I was going to, do some Yelp reviews and check where's a good place for us to go to eat and do this and that. Dad, put all that away. Put away your apps, put away your maps. I'm gonna take you someplace. Now, she'd never been in that neighborhood, so she didn't know her way around. But what she did was she led me on an adventure. Now, that area had some incredible rail yards and about 1.5 mile bridge over the rail yards. And I was getting a little bit antsy when we were crossing over all these tracks, on the bridge. But she said, "Don't, just trust me. I know it's going to be the right place." And we end up getting into this neighborhood we'd never heard of, we'd never been to, and there was fantastic food. We ate at a Moldovan restaurant. Now, how many people have eaten Moldovan food? Raise your hand. None of you, because it's probably the only Moldovan restaurant in the United States. It was great. We went into a coffee house, and we had Nitro coffee. Have you ever had Nitro? Anybody had Nitro? Is that stuff legal in Illinois? I don't know. It's powerful. But we had a great time. We were walking in and out of places, having a great time. What was she teaching me? She said, "See, Dad? See, I told you." How often do you live like that? How often do you see through the eyes of a child? Well, 21-year-old child, but still a child. How often do you look at life with a sense of adventure? And so yesterday, I got in my car, and I just thought, I said, "What should I do?" And it was just be. Drive. I decided that when I hit a red light, I would turn right, because in Illinois, you can turn right on a red light. Most people in the state don't know that yet, but still, you can turn right on a red light. And so I would turn right, or if it was a green light, I'd go straight, or maybe there'd be a left arrow. Every so often I turn left, so most of the time I was kind of going straight and turning right. And I end up on Milwaukee, and I'm driving along, and I see a sign that says Estonian Lane. Estonian Lane, that's a country. Why did they name a lane after it? That's interesting. And it caught my eye, a little tiny sign saying Christmas Fair. Well, I'm driving, I go, that's it. So I turn around, I go back, I go in there, and I'm with all my fellow Estonians. And they're all speaking Estonian to each other, and they're having the best of them. They're wearing these outfits, They look like something out of National Geographic, right? And the music was fantastic. They were doing these dances, these folk dances, where they were, let me put it this way, it was very low key dancing, but it was very cool. And they had all these booths. I didn't drink any glog. I promise you I didn't, but I could have, but I didn't. But I did all the other things and ate some cookies and tried the tea and tried this and did all these things. And I only had a couple hours to spare. I had a great time, and I went back, and it was like I was on vacation in Estonia. How often do you do things like, anybody ever do stuff like that? Raise your hand. You're nurturing the self that you are, the being that you are. Just something different. I was really, when I was all balled up and going through all kinds of hoo-ha back about 30, 35 years ago in a church, I was just going through a lot, and what came to me was go on a safari every week. Go someplace you've never been. So I would head in a direction or see something on a map. You'll be amazed what you discover. I ended up sitting in a restaurant on a stool, and there was a woman who was sitting there, and we just, a conversation. She was the top movie star of Hong Kong. But because she was in Hawaii, nobody knew who she was, so she started talking to me. It was great, and I found out later, I looked it up, and wow, she was, when's this going to happen to you? Would you like stuff like that to happen to you? It happens all the time when you create a space for it. Do you create a space for it? It's the old story that if you're always on the line, the calls can't get through, the universe gets a busy signal, get offline. How do you get offline? By unhooking your brain, unhooking your assumptions, taking off your old glasses, putting on new ones, experiencing something entirely new, and most importantly, not thinking that all of these things out here are defining you. This stuff out here doesn't define me, doesn't define you. These things out here come and they go. Sometimes they're sweet, sometimes they're bitter, sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't. But there's something going on inside you at all times. It's always percolating. That beingness within you, we celebrated every service in our opening. I am now in the presence of pure being. Together, I am now in the presence of pure being. Or as Robert Browning called it, the imprisoned splendor that seeks to escape. And we think it's all out here trying to put it in. What did Aristotle say? There's nothing to learn. Truth, facts can be brought in from the outside, but truth has to be learned from within. It's an unfoldment process. There's nothing outside of you. What did Emerson say? It's not in what's before us or behind us that matters. It's what is within us. So, how do you define yourself? Do you define yourself, your value, your okayness? Do you define it by, well, when this happens, I'll be okay. When this happens, it'll be okay. Because of this, I'm okay, so that if it's not there, you're not okay. Or if this happens, I'm not okay. All those conditional things. We talk about unconditional love. How about unconditional living? How about unconditional joy? Jesus said, I came to bring my joy to you, and so that your joy may be made full and complete. And what is that fullness, that completeness? Well, it's something that doesn't need something out there to give it to you. You say, yeah, but I kind of like some of those things out there. Those are the fruits. And what do you do with the fruits? Well, you enjoy them, or you go through them, or whatever they are. And if you want better fruits, you've got to focus on what? The center of you, your heart. Your heart, and here's an analogy. Your heart is like a tree, and get ready for this. I spent, all of 10 minutes printing up these two little things. So what is this?
An apple?
It's a peach. All right. Well, how about this one? What's this one?
An apple.
An apple, okay. Let's see if I can get it back on here. But okay, so now what is this thing here? Just tell me it's a tree, okay? It's a tree.
Okay.
It's a tree because I said it is. So for this particular analogy, your fruits, which is the things in your life, the experiences of your life, the fruits, that's not who you are. They're important, they matter. Some fruits in life are exquisitely and unforgettably sweet. What's your favorite fruit? Just call it out. Cherries, apples, strawberries, bananas. He likes mangoes. So, pineapples. When I was, the Unity Village was originally a working farm, and it was primarily orchards. And in the last 5 years, they put it back. And now they have a stand, they're selling stuff. But there's many, many years, when I was in school, all that was lying fallow. They weren't doing anything with it. So I'd get on my bicycle and I'd go out and I would just pick. The whole thing was mine. I would pick the fruit. It was so sweet. They hadn't cultivated it, but it was still giving fruit. And those same trees now are being sold, all the fruit. But I remember when I was in the Youth of Unity, I went hitchhiking. In 1971, they let you hitchhike home from the Youth of Unity. Actually, I didn't ask permission, so they didn't stop me. And I was out in front, and I bought a 5-pound bag of white peaches. You know white peaches? Oh my gosh, when they're juicing, they were right off the tree, and they were warm, because it was a 100-degree day. And the juice ran down, so I couldn't get a ride, because the juice, like this. But I will never forget that. I'll never get over it. Think about the sweetest fruit you ever had and how wonderful it was. I remember having a peach tree in New Mexico, and when Rosalie was 2, she found out about peaches, and she used to run out the back door and hug the peach tree, hug the trunk, and just say, I love peaches. Okay, so you want more fruit in your life. You want the sweetest fruit. How do you get it? How do you get your fruit? Well, let's talk about this. Up here, I've got my little watering can. What should I water if I want to have better fruit?
A tree.
Should I water the fruit? If I water the fruit, what will I get?
Wet fruit.
Clean fruit. That's it. That's all you get. But if you want better fruit, what do? You water the tree. Okay. In you and me, that's our heart. That's the core of our being. It's the trunk of us. It's that reality of us. We've got religious terms of it. We call it the Christ in you. We call it the divinity within you. It's all those good things. Maybe it's just the heart of you. That heart, that good heart of you. And how do you water it? How do you water it? You can pray, you can meditate, you can do come to services, you can we talked about service, your spirit of service thing, form. We have all kinds of things you can do, but how about just being? How about just being? Do you cherish that precious being that you are? Do you give appreciation to that precious being that you are? I'm going to have to set this down because I have nothing else to say about it. Do you experience yourself in the moment, spontaneously, as the who that you are? Are your values such that what really matters to you isn't all this stuff out here, the fruit? Fruit's good. But look at your tree in your yard, whether it's a fruit tree or any other kind of tree. It dances in joy. Do you believe that the trees outside your window are dancing in joy in the wind? That they're truly enjoying themselves on the level of treeness? I'm not being woo-woo here. You can experience this by looking up and feeling it. I've shared about the redwood trees in California and how James Dillard Freeman, Unity's poet laureate, wanted to be brought to the first growth redwood trees, and he wanted to just walk around. He says, "Can you feel it?" It was like there was this low hum of energy because of the magnificence of those trees. But the trees are dancing in the sunlight or dancing in the cloudy, snowy, rainy, miserable weather that we judge. But they're dancing anyway. They're dancing with leaves, without leaves, green leaves, red leaves. The tree is joy. Now you are that beingness, that tree. And the core of you, the trunk of you, the center of you, it deserves to be nurtured and appreciated and loved and supported. And that part of you, you experience it by putting your value, your treasure, where it really matters. Jesus said, get yourselves purses that'll never run out. He said, lay up treasures where moth cannot destroy, where thieves cannot break in and steal. He said, lay up treasures in the invisibility of the kingdom within you. And where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Well, yeah, your heart is there also, because it is in your heart. And it is in the Christ in you, and it is in that beingness within you. But what about values in your life? Have you ever had a situation in your life where you had a choice between living from who you were inside and what's being dictated out there? You get that choice every time you see a headline that you don't like, or there's something going on out here that you don't approve of, or somebody maybe expects you to be different than you are, or I don't know. Where do you have those choices? So the question is, are you, as Jesus put it, seeking first that invisible kingdom, laying up the treasures there, getting that purse that never wears out, which is your heart. Your heart's a purse, to get that one on. And remember the story of Solomon. Do you remember Solomon in the middle of the night? Some people thought it was a dream, but it just says God came to Solomon in the middle of the night and said, Solomon, I'll give you anything you want, just ask. And Solomon said, I want to have wisdom so that I can be a better king for my people. And God said, well, Solomon, that's impressive. You know, you didn't ask for the defeat of your enemies or more lands or more money or power or riches or anything else. You asked for a wise heart. Wow. I'll tell you what, I'll give you that wise heart, but you'll get both riches and honor, and all those other things will be added as well, which is what Jesus said about the kingdom. If you are living from if you're watering the root of the tree, which is the ground of being, your soul essence that comes up and expresses through you, your fruit will be much better. All the things will be added unto you. And how do you experience that? Where do you experience it in your life most readily? Look into your heart. Look at and see, how can I nudge myself and just increase slightly that inner experience, that inner splendor. Part of it is by not getting caught up in things that it is not. And what are the things that it is not? All those things that are going on out there that distract you from the essence of your true being. Remember on Oprah Winfrey when Oprah had Maya Angelou on? Maya Angelou, besides being a great poet, was a Unity student, and Oprah was sharing about the life transformative experience that she had when she was lied about in the National Enquirer. And they were saying things about her that weren't true, and she was all upset. And she called her friend Maya Angelou. She said, "No," and she actually said, "I just got on the phone and I went rada 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 rada." And she said that Maya Angelou said to her, "But Oprah, you are not in that." "Yeah, but Oprah, you are not in that." And when she slowed down, she realized that's not who she was. And she said that was so liberating, so freeing. She could take the steps she needed to take, but that was not defining for her. I am not in that. Together. I am not in that. I am in here. Together. I am in here. And what's in here? Your heart. Where your treasure is, your heart will be also. And in that situation, well, somebody once said to me, when I'm in it, I'm in hell. When I'm not in it, I'm in heaven. It's as simple as that. How do you get out of it so that you're not in it? How do you do that indeed? By letting it go? By withdrawing your attention from it and moving into this innermost center? Realizing that this is the who that you are? Remembering who you are. I shared that last week. Remembering the who that you are was placed in you in the beginning of time. It will always be there. It is always there. It is who you are. And so we're going to take a moment here, and I know that you might have something in your life that you're grappling with, that you're working with, but this is an exercise in taking all that energy that's been out on the periphery of your tree and moving it into the core, because in the core, that is the who that you are. So just move into this now moment with me and just take a nice deep breath. And it's so simple and easy to just notice your breath and your heart beating. Notice your pulse and your fingers. And notice that in this now moment there is a nice quiet space inside where my treasure is, there my heart is also. I am now this presence of pure being. And as I quiet my mind and become aware of my heart, this inmost center of me, I remember that this is my divine nature inside. It's no accident that my heart is nourishing my body and is in the center of my physical body. My spiritual heart is now nurturing and healing every condition in my life. My spiritual heart is my divine center. And as I move deeper into this inner presence, feeling my heart beating, quieting my mind, I am freed from every outer thing. I am not in that, whatever that may be. I am that. I am the presence of pure being. I am my inmost center. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. We take a deep breath and we let it out. And we move into that center of us, that inmost center from which that imprisoned splendor expresses. There's that within us that knows all. All truth, all joy, all love. And it's so freeing and so wonderful to remember that what we were created to be in the very beginning resides as the inmost heart of us, ready to express everywhere we go and whatever we do. And so now take another deep breath and move into your heart. And how we do this may include just feeling the beating of the heart in our inmost center. There's no accident that our physical hearts are in the center of us. There's no accident that our heart is that which is giving life and circulation to every extremity in our being. We take this moment to just remember, I have a good heart. I am my true heart. And as I feel my heart beating, become aware of the feeling of it, perhaps in my chest, maybe in the pulse in my fingers. This quiets me. And I remember that I am the love of God expressing. Whatever my need may be, as I move into my heart, I experience the fullness of God's love and joy and peace. I withdraw all my attention from everything out there and I move it in here. Peace in my heart. I feel it beat. Joy in my inmost being. Light and life and healing and abundance, harmony and guidance. My heart. My heart has it all. And I move in my feeling nature, in my inmost heart, where God is expressing as being, as feeling, as loving, as life. And as I move even deeper, whenever my mind wanders, I bring it back to my beating heart, my good heart. I am my good heart. That inmost center within me is where I get my answers, where my guidance comes from, my healing, my abundance, my harmony, everything that I need. I'm renewed from within, nourished. I experience this joy of my inner being, my inmost heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. So the children are going to be coming in a little bit, but we're going to have our offering right now. And I give from the beingness that I am, and I receive abundantly. It's our affirmation. Let me say this alone one time. I give from the beingness that I am, and I receive abundantly. Together? I give from the beingness that I am, and I receive abundantly. And so it is. Amen.